Hello and welcome to the Newsx Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, this is our second roundtable with the psephologists. We are going to keep a track on the coming state elections. Five states, four states and one union territory is going to poll soon in April and May. And these are going to be very crucial, in fact, because in most of these states, the opposition is in power. And the BJP is trying to make an inroad in, at least in the southern states, that is Kerala, Tamil Nadu. BJP is in power in Assam. Mamata Banerjee holds strong in West Bengal. And there is, of course, Puducherry also that is going to polls. Can the opposition hold on to its turf? Can the Congress live up to some kind of its heft and make a dent and at least get Kerala, if not Assam, from the BJP? That is something we're going to be discussing on the show today. Joining me on the panel is I have with me Professor Sanjay Kumar. He is a political analyst and a psephologist. I have Yashwant Deshmukh. He is a director and the founding editor at Seawater and a political analyst also. Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist and psephologist. He is the founding partner at the Ascendia, and his vote vibe tracker is really is I think on his round two of the states taking a look. But Yashwanji, since we last spoke, I think even you have your survey is also coming out. It's already come out in some of the states. So can you begin with yours and then we'll go on to the next?
Yeah, of course, Priya, and actually, I'm happy that Sanjay Bhai is also here because we end up learning a lot from him whenever he speaks. So it's good to have him here. Uh, Last time when we spoke, we were talking about the MOTN and the larger picture and as well as the poll-bound states. And today
Hmm.
I've just finished my column. I was giving finishing touches when when came into the program. And I was writing on something which is like Southern comfort for the Congress or Southern comfort for the opposition. Yeah, I mean, it's because one way of looking at it, what BJP can do, and another way of looking at it also, Priya, that what Congress can actually manage and
Hmm.
can do, and all of a sudden I realized that they're out of the six states, one micro state, including Pondicherry, that's it, six. I all of a sudden realized that Congress is already ruling in three, that is Karnataka, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu with DMK.
Hmm.
And if they manage to retain Tamil Nadu and they manage to win Kerala and Puducherry, then the Congress or the India Alliance would be kind of ruling five out of six in South.
South.
And that would be a massive narrative twist if I can see the way the newspapers and the news channels are going to roll in, you know. So yeah, I mean that was of all of a sudden a different way of looking at the things. And then I discussed with my senior colleague Sutanu sir, and then we were writing about it. And then he said that, you know what, yes, that is a fact. But the fact is also that out of the five out of six will start gaining huge anti-incumbency by the time the next Lok Sabha elections are happening. And before the next Lok Sabha election, we are going to face the assembly elections of Telangana and Karnataka, which are likely to be flipped. So whatever the narrative is there is almost an equally strong chance of that narrative being very short-lived if one will look at it in a real political way. And I realized how dynamic the situation is, Priya. And yes, that's a fact that at this point of time, the BJP's as per in the MOTN, BJP's vote share graph is growing. That is
Hmm.
fine, but I don't see them winning at this point of time in any of the southern state in these rounds. I mean, at this point of time. Kerala, they might increase the vote share, but I guess that their target would be to cross the psychological 20% mark in assembly election, which they have crossed in Lok Sabha, but not in assembly election. It drops by 10% as soon as the assembly elections come in. They stand a good chance in Tamil Nadu, I would say. But with the vertical split of the opposition vote, Amitabh has worked on the Tamil Nadu tracker. I was going through his numbers. His gap in the assembly election is quite less, vis-a-vis my gap in the Lok Sabha election projection, which I did for the MOTN.
Hmm.
And that is something which is understandable because Tamil Nadu एक उलटवासी है. It's a different kind of thing where, as we have discussed, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Punjab happen to be three states where there is a significant anti-Modi, anti-BJP base. And these three states, Rahul Gandhi's ratings have always in 11 years above Mr. Narendra Modi's ratings. That's the
Hmm.
three exceptional states. So their Lok Sabha numbers are likely to be better than assembly numbers as far as the opposition is. It's a inverted pyramid as far as the Narendra Modi dividend for the BJP is concerned.
Hmm.
It's the other way around. They are likely to do it better in the Lok Sabha than in the. So I agree with Amitabh's assessment that that 10% plus gap at the Lok Sabha level might be reduced to less than 5% if the assembly election trends are to be analyzed. So Tamil Nadu is way more closer than what people might be realizing. They are just lucky that Vijay is causing a vertical split and
Hmm.
opposition is fragmented. So all in all, yes, there are two different narratives which we are likely to see, Priya. 5-1 narrative is going to be a really great one to analyze and to look around. But at the same time, it's one of those things कि अभी तो गुलाब जामुन खाया है HB1 AC जो है बाद में कितना आएगा वो बाद
Hmm.
में ही पता लगेगा ग्लूकोज लेवल बढ़ने पे so that is something with the anti-incumbency which will start creeping in after this if they win all these states so 29 would be a different animal altogether.
Fair enough. Amitabh, we didn't have Sanjay ji last time, so just for his benefit and also for our viewers again, if you can just give us a snapshot of your findings and then I'll ask him to comment and then we'll go into the specifics. Especially this time, I think we should focus more on Assam and West Bengal. But if you can just give us the overall findings first.
Yeah, essentially, if we look at the overall findings in Assam, we see a very high satisfaction level with the government, which is Himanta Biswa Sarma government, uh, on account of the development projects and infrastructure creation over the past 5 years, and also the delimitation has reduced the Muslim community influence seats by anywhere between 10 to 15. So that gives a buffer to the BJP because there is a 10-year government, and if there is anti-incumbency against the local MLAs, you have a 10 to 15 seat buffer, which earlier used to send Muslim community MLAs, but now the Muslim representation in the assembly is likely to reduce. Hence, it gives a certain benefit to the BJP there. Gaurav Gogoi also has dual responsibilities, Deputy Leader Lok Sabha, on whom Rahul Gandhi banks a lot for giving or making the point of the Congress party. So his duties are also in a way distributed, and that's why he's not able to focus on the campaign there. If you see West Bengal again, the discontent level is higher, or the anti-incumbency is high. However, because Mamata is very popular, especially amongst the women, and the fact that the BJP still people feel is not able to understand the history, language, culture, context of the state, and also suffers from factionalism. Now there is a TMC BJP led by Suvendu and a BJP sort of led by Dilip Ghosh, Samik Bhattacharya, Sukanta Majumdar, etc. So there
Hmm.
is a strong factionalism also there. Conversely to Assam, the demographics favor Mamata Banerjee in Bengal because there are 112 seats where the Muslim population is more than 25%, of which the TMC won 106. So it needs only 45 seats, perhaps from the Hindu community influence seats to win. So as of now, she looks in a comfortable position. However, there are a very high number of undecided voters, around 17-18%, which could tilt the balance. In Kerala, because there is a strong trend, and LDF had broken that trend in 2021, there is a huge amount of anti-incumbency. Satisfaction levels are poor. The urban local body elections also saw UDF winning the election. So all looks set for a Congress kind of a victory. However, internal factionalism, 42% respondents say that Congress could lose because of internal factionalism. That's 42%. That's why we saw uh, Rahul Gandhi sort of, or the high command placating Shashi Tharoor, comes from Nair community, an influential community, 12 to 15% vote share or vote base in Kerala, and also popular amongst the middle class. There, one interesting fact is that, and we could discuss this later, as to how BJP's expansion in vote share impacts other parties.
Hmm.
Because conceptually, as Yashwanji mentioned last time, CPM is the Hindu party of Kerala. That's why we see a lot of violence between CPM and RSS cadre. And however, so conceptually, the growth of BJP should come at the cost of LDF. But if
Right.
you see the vote share, BJP has grown from 6% in 2006, I think, to 15% in 2016 and 12% in 2021.
Hmm.
All that vote share has come at the expense of Congress. Because what it has done is it has pulled the small amount of Nair and Ezava support which Congress was getting from the Hindu communities because it is branded as a minority party. So
Hmm.
BJP is gaining at the cost actually in terms of vote share of the Congress party there, damaging the Congress. And also that was one of the reason why the LDF was able to retain because BJP damaged actually Congress pulled the Hindu votes.
Hmm.
And because of the growth of BJP, minorities, both Muslims and Christians, for the first time, the LDF secured actually almost equal or higher support than the Congress because the minorities then gravitated towards left, seeing that perhaps it is in a better position to stop the BJP march.
BJP. Correct.
Tamil Nadu also is a, I mean, every 5 year the government changes there, so there is huge amount of anti-incumbency. 44% people say that it is very likely that the trend will continue, but now you have three claim or rather two claimants, AIADMK led alliance and a Vijay led alliance. Vijay, like PK, of course, we cannot compare because he is much more popular. He is getting the CM approval ratings of 23%, even vote share of 19%. But we don't know whether he will be able to hold on to that popularity or hold on to that vote share because when people go out to vote, we've seen that elections are becoming largely bipolar and the third party is getting squeezed out. So we'll have to see how his popularity he's able to convert it into votes.
Okay, so that's Sanjay ji, just a quick listing of all the states. If you can comment on that, and one point I really want to ask you is, we've seen Hemanta Biswa Sarma. He said that his infrastructure and his development works are holding him stead. Yet we are seeing all this a lot of polarizing conversation also happening from there in Assam, and that usually happens when they're not sure of their base. So how do you make up for this dichotomy?
Uh, First, I don't have the kind of advantage Yashwant ji and Amitabh ji has because we have not done any polls.
Hmm.
Both of them are doing polls, so they have the advantage of having the data. Uh, but the question which you have asked, Priya, it's not that you can do this or that. If a
Ah,
party wants to ensure that they want to register a big victory, even if a political party has been able to invest in infrastructural development, welfare policies, when the party is in power, nobody prevents that party from doing X plus. What you mentioned, that Hemanta Biswa Sarma is saying people are happy about the infrastructural development, and Amitabh ji's data also indicates that there is a uh, huge or a great degree of approval for the work done by Himanta Biswa Sarma in Assam. But they don't want to leave any chance. And that has happened in many other states where BJP has been the ruling party. I think few years ago, maybe 5 7 years ago, we many analysts used to make a mistake by looking at these things and saying, oh, looks like BJP is unsure and why this would have been happening, why BJP is doing this, because they are not sure of whether they are getting the popular support or not, and that's why they are just trying to like play these games. I think it is important, at least I have learned a lot, that we have to move ahead of that narrative, that if prime minister is spending a lot of time in one state, maybe BJP thinks that BJP is on a slippery wicket. That's not happening because BJP is a party which doesn't want to leave any chance. So even if people are happy, again, I would say Amitabh ji's data indicates that general dissatisfaction level is higher
hmm.
compared to if you find it in other state. But BJP doesn't want to simply win. They want to register big victory. And you can see that's happening. Whether we are
Right.
talking about Bihar, whether we are talking about Delhi, Haryana, states where they have, it seemed that they may be losing, they have registered victories. States where they still seemed strong, they have registered massive victories. That's the strategy I think BJP is adopting.
Fair enough. And your reaction to the other data, where it seems, at least in West Bengal and Assam, they're holding forth. There is a pro-incumbency. DMK, he's saying his numbers show that the Stalin is still the most popular, but because the state also votes against, anti-incumbency, and plus he's talked about two challengers. So your reaction to Tamil Nadu really is what I'm interested in.
See, I think whatever I get the reports from the ground, uh, that DMK still is holding on strong.
Hmm.
How strong? I can't say that they are extremely strong as maybe Himanta Biswa Sarma seems to be holding on in Assam. But the signs of anti-incumbency is not as strong, to be sure, at this moment, that the government may lose election. It is heading for an interesting election. But Tamil Nadu, if you look at all the past elections, initially we keep talking about interesting election. There seems to be a fight, but mostly Tamil Nadu election, mostly it becomes one-sided, and the party or the alliance which wins election ends up winning in a big way. And that's also the trend if you look at all the elections, generally elections in the past, the recent assembly elections. So my own sense is that we will keep talking about, and the data is also there, that looks like a slightly tight elections between AIDMK plus and DMK plus. But at this moment, I think, going by the data, but data, if you collect data at this moment, most of the ruling government there will be, unless until it's hugely unpopular, the wind would seem to be blowing in favor of the ruling party, because there is, at this time, people don't express huge dissatisfaction with the government unless until really the government has performed badly. So in most of the state, wherever you do the survey at this moment, and it's still 2.5 months to go for elections. So in Tamil Nadu, there will be some positive signs for DMK, even in Kerala, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's the situation in Tamil Nadu.
Sorry, Kerala, you said positive
No,
signs for whom?
I'm saying even in a state like Kerala, where left would be in power for 10 years by the time,
Ah,
like the election take
yes.
place, and Kerala has been a state where the government has changed every 5 years, except the last election. But at this moment, I suspect that there would be signs of huge anti-incumbency against the LDF government. If you do a survey at this moment, I don't think there would be huge sign of anti-incumbency. But as soon as the voting day comes, I think people's opinions start changing very fast.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break and come back and keep this conversation going. So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to the Newsx Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We are taking a look as to which way the wind is blowing in, especially four of the states that are going for polls soon. But Yashwanji, 2.5 months still to go. Is it too early to figure out the mood on the ground, or generally you've got to, by doing these surveys, you get to know some of the trends, and by and large, unless some major muck up happens, these seem to be the way the elections are going. And your reaction to Kerala also.
Uh, Well, some trends start kind of at least start holding in a way. I mean, particularly where the question is bipolar. I mean, contest is of bipolarity. That's where it start getting more and more bipolar as we look into that.
So
The
that is
problem
Assam and
remains
West
only.
Bengal. Which are
Yeah,
the
Assam and
bipolar
West
states.
Bengal. Exactly. Problem happens in only the states where there is a third angle comes in and making it a triangular, as in the case of BJP's entry in Kerala, or for that matter, Vijay's entry in Tamil Nadu is concerned. I believe that Pondicherry also will go a bipolar way. Even though Vijay also did a rally in Puducherry and got big crowds.
Hmm.
But at this point of time, it seems like it might eventually go for a bipolar in a longer way. So yeah, Kerala, we just did the first round of tracker for Malayalam Manorama over there, which was
Hmm.
aired 2 days back, and there is a very clear, I would say, strength of anti-incumbency that we are already picking up right now. Yes, Amitabh is correct when he said that initial vote that BJP has chopped in is from the remaining Hindu votes of the Congress. And Congress is largely a minority party in Kerala now. And the left is managed to win 5 years back because of that division of vote. But right now, the swing from left towards the BJP is something which is pulling the left down at this point of time. It is now moving the West Bengal kind of way. It has started moving. What remains to be seen whether the 20% plus vote that the BJP managed to poll during the Lok Sabha elections multiple times, at least 2, 3 times they managed to touch almost 20. Last time they almost crossed 20. Can they hold on to that kind of vote even in the assembly election, or will that vote go back to left? That's
Hmm.
the thing which we need to see and understand how it is happening. Uh, 10 years is a long time, particularly keeping in mind that it happened for the first time in Kerala, that a
Yeah,
pro-incumbent verdict came in, right?
right.
And same is the case of Tamil Nadu. Jayalalitha winning back was a big, what shall I say, um, deviation from the Tamil Nadu politics, where the pendulum used to swing one way or the other every 5 years.
Hmm.
And 5 years back, when DMK managed to win, even after the death of Jayalalitha, the AIA DMK was not wiped out. They managed a pretty decent, what shall I say, pretty decent strength on the opposition benches. Yes,
Hmm.
DMK won a huge, but when we are comparing the, say, Tamil Nadu verdicts of the 90s and the first decades of this century, we have seen 80s, 90s when the position was wiped out, they used to get left with 1 seat or 0 seat or 3 seats or 4 seats.
Hmm.
Uh, that sort of thing stopped
Swings.
about 15 years back. Yes, the verdicts have been very clear, but it's not that the opposition was virtually non-existent on the floor. So that I remember that when the last time, I mean, not this one, when about 10 years back, when DMK was ruling and Jayalalitha was the leader of opposition. She had a very strong presence on the opposition numbers, and for 5 years she
Hmm.
kept on targeting the DMK, saying this minority
Ah.
government,
Hmm.
because DMK for the first time did not have a majority of its own in Tamil Nadu. So, and one more thing which Jayalalitha did when she managed to repeat the verdict, was for the first time, she literally forced all the alliance partners to contest on her symbol. So, for the first time, AIA-DMK had all the seats with the two-leaf symbol parties. So, Jayalalitha did pretty brave things and she reaped the benefits of it. The current AIA-DMK under the Palaniswamy leadership has strangely and bravely kind of held on to base. First of all, the the uh, the Paneer Selvam defection and AMMK defection, the other things did not really dent the AIA-DMK pie big time. So he is holding on. I mean, a lot many people had written the political obituary of AIA DMK after the death of Jayalalitha, but it seems that they are holding on, much to the surprise and disappointment even of the BJP. BJP was probably expecting that
Hoping.
AIA DMK will go for a meltdown and we will become the principal opposition. It ain't happening. It's not happening. It's not happening at all. So, so they are holding on. And
Hmm.
and I agree with Sanjay Bhai as well, his assessment that whatever the assessment, the verdict would be clear. And Amitabh's assessment that the gap is not that big. I agree both of these. The only thing is that what I need to check and see and keep a track on is Vijay going to hold on to whatever numbers he's getting a traction, or will he kind of dither away like PK's campaign
Yeah.
in Bihar?
Hmm.
He was also getting a traction in our numbers 20%, 22, 23%, but the votes polled by him was only about 3.5%.
वही अर्श पे या फर्श पे, that's the test.
अर्श पे या फर्श पे. So that is something. And another thing which a lot many people say that, okay, he has a legacy of being a superstar and blah, 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 blah. Yes, I understand that, but so was Mr. Rajnikant. I remember when we ran tracker at the time of entry of Rajnikant, at best his traction went up to 12 to 16%. You
Hmm.
know,
Okay.
and the very fact, I mean, I don't want to be credited or discredited for this thing, but the MOTN, when we declared 12% support base even after a year of campaign for him, probably 15 days after that, he kind of announced that he is not entering politics at all. You know, so if the Tamil Nadu politics can go beyond Rajnikant on the this thing,
Then
I
Vijay's
don't think
chances.
that Vijay is still reaching that kind of fandom or that kind of level
Okay.
that Rajnikant had.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of these things are to be checked and tracked in the next 12 weeks or so before making any conclusion. But interesting election.
Okay.
It's going to be
Very.
very, very interesting. Yeah.
So, Amitabh, to take off from Yashwanji's point, you've said that this is an election where in all the states, I think we have prominent CM faces on, both the camps, at least, except I think in West Bengal, there's no challenger really who is there. Gaurav Gogoi, we have discussed, but Vijay is emerging, but yet to be tested. Kerala seems to be really the state where there are a lot of challengers. So, who is ahead in Kerala from the Congress side, from the, UDF side?
No, clearly now, since elections are approaching, the LOP, VD Satishan is ahead in the race
Obvious.
from UDF side, and not only from UDF side, at least across parties. So when we ask who do you want to see as the CM, VD Satishan is getting around 22%, whereas Vijayan is getting 18% and KK Shalja around 17. But there are many
And
other.
Shashi Tharoor? Hmm.
So Shashi Tharoor is getting around 9, 10. KC Venugopal is getting around 5, 6. On a combined basis, largely Congress is 1 or 2 percentage points higher than what the CPM leadership is getting. See, there is a leadership vacuum now in CPM there, correct? Because now age is not on his side. Vijayan, whatever said in the past 10 years, has centralized control and command
Hmm.
within the chief ministerial office. So a party which used to be a cadre-based party now is largely being run like a presidential style sort of a party. There is a leadership vacuum. There are talks around whoever has won for 2 terms will not be getting a ticket. If that is applied, then Vijayan himself may not get the ticket. Uh, Vijayan's son-in-law is a tourism minister, comes from the minority community, has a very low profile, but has big ambitions to become CM. So we are seeing sort of family dynastic
Hmm.
or a family control entering into a party which is largely cadre and ideology based. So this election actually of Kerala 2026 is a very interesting election going to decide the future of Kerala. If left loses,
Hmm.
then we've seen in West Bengal in 10 years, it came down to 0 seats. In Tripura, we've seen in 10 years, it has fallen to a low tally. So, will this election be that
The end
election
of left. Hmm.
which marks the end of the left, or will it show that there is no left in the country? Correct, because
Hmm.
that's the only state there. So,
State.
that's very, very important because BJP's trajectory is related to the outcome here, whether
Okay, good point. Hmm.
left loses, and if left does not lose
Hmm.
also, then who becomes the principal challenger to left? Because if left wins, then we are going to see significant churning in the alliances which of UDF. Kerala Congress, one faction is already there with left. IUML was in talks to join left after the loss in 2021. So we could see paradigm shifts. So that election is very, very important in Kerala in that sense.
Okay. Sanjay ji, who has most at stake? The big picture really in the end, the opposition, India bloc, or the BJP in these round of elections?
Priya, I think there is generally a belief that, these are the elections where BJP has very little stake. But I think BJP has a huge stake. If you look at Assam, yes, they have been in power for 10 years, so there is a stake for them to retain the government. The neighboring state of West Bengal, they worked very hard in the last assembly election, did perform very well, but could not pull a victory. So the stakes are very high for BJP in West Bengal. They would need to pull a victory. At least this is what they would aim for. Now, if we move to the southern state, Puducherry, they are in alliance with the ruling alliance. They are part of the ruling alliance. They would definitely like to retain, because if they lose, then it's all about narrative. Now, move on to Tamil Nadu. Yes, at this moment doesn't look like BJP being part at this moment. BJP being part of the alliance which will manage to win the election. But at least for BJP as a party on its own, it is important for them to register their stronger presence compared to the past election. So the stakes are very high for BJP even in Tamil Nadu. Even if you don't win, suppose generally a view, shared view, but they have to register their strong presence. Kerala, it is a very, very strong stake for BJP in Kerala. They performed very well in the Lok Sabha election. When I say very well, it is compared to the 2019 elections. If you compare 2019 and 2024, they performed very well. Their vote share went up to roughly 20% or so. So, assembly elections, yes, we know that there is a difference between the Lok Sabha election and state assembly election, but they would like the performance of BJP to be repeated, at least, if not much better. So stakes in my opinion, stakes are high for BJP as it is stakes for high for the left. Amitabh ji has already mentioned about, if they lose election in Kerala, they are
They're
just
finished.
out of power. For Congress also, it's very important because, like in Kerala, last time they lost the election, it created a history. Left created a history because this is a state where every election government has changed. They failed to win elections there. Tamil Nadu, if you keep reading the news, what is the news which is coming in Tamil Nadu, Congress is still a very small player, and I think DMK is trying to create some distance, some kind of a distance from Congress. We all
I
know
thought
what
the
is the
other way around. The Congress is trying to distance from DMK, no?
I don't know. We all know what is the situation of Congress in West Bengal. The other state, Assam, they have to work very hard in Assam. So stakes are high for all party, including BJP.
On that note, thank you so much. We're going to keep this tracker, and I hope to get you all back soon on a regular basis, because I think this is really the Psephologists Roundtable. We began early, we got the early start, and we have the mood on the round. Let's keep a track and see if any trends change. It will be interesting to analyze that as well. But as of now, it looks as if the governments in power seem to have the edge. Kerala, of course, is open to grabs, and Mamata Banerjee is holding strong. We're going to wait and watch this space. Thank you so much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.